Hey, good afternoon, everyone. It's great to have you back here at another Azure session. Today is February 18, 2021, and welcome. Okay, today's session is brought to you by these wonderful partners, because without them, we wouldn't be able to do all this. And today is going to be like how to run a bar with Azure Service Bus. I especially like that bar, and I've already seen a preview about the slides, so I think it's going to be very interesting. Of course, also a next session on March 25th. And if you want to speak yourself, because basically that's what we're here for, there's always an open session on Sessionize that you can provide us with interesting sessions. So please do fill in something, and we're looking forward to having you as well. Of course, follow us on social media like Twitter, Facebook, or our websites, and subscribe to our newsletter, which you can do on azure.be. And let's make it a great thing. So enjoy the ride and enjoy Jerry today with his wonderful session. See ya.
Well, thank you for your hospitality and the chance to give me this opportunity to actually have my first presentation for Azure. First of all, let me introduce myself. Who am I? I'm Jerry. I'm active in the IT sector since 2006. I'm a technical consultant at Realdolmen, former well-known as Realdolmen, and currently active within the as a technical lead in the DevOps team called Zanzibar. Besides my professional activities, I love visiting bars. I love beers, festivals. I'm a huge Simpsons fan, and I thought, why not having to combine this all into a wonderful presentation. But first of all, why this presentation? Well, first thing was actually COVID-19. I couldn't go to the bars, to the festivals, so I was quite bored. I was missing Cloud Brew as well. On the other hand, I wanted to learn some Azure Service Bus basics to me and, of course, to other colleagues around. And last but not least, I was kind of thirsty when I made this presentation. So I thought, why not create my own bar simulator with .NET 5, Blazor, and Azure? So in order to make this happen, I've brought some partners in crime with me. You might know these guys. They are kind of drinking buddies today. And on the other hand, you also need some waiters to serve drinks and stuff like that. So say hi to René and Mo. All right, what is Azure Service Bus? First of all, Azure Service Bus, if you go and look up the fully managed enterprise integration message broker, which decouples different applications from each other and provides reliable, secure platform for asynchronous transfer of data and state. Well, this is all very technical, but in the end, if you have to explain this to a more business-related people, you can just say, well, it allows applications to communicate with each other without having a direct impact on each other. I will come back to that later on. So why should you run a bar with Azure Service Bus? Well, first of all, people have better things to do than just waiting. For instance, the waiters, they take orders, they serve drinks, they do dishes, taking a break, and they have loads of other activities to do while working in the bar. On the other hand, the customers don't want to wait constantly on their drinks. They want to play cards with their friends, talk to their friends, or just stare at their future ex, for instance. So it's all about optimizing resource usage. Then, of course, the waiters themselves, they have more things to do, and they can only do one thing at a time. They don't like multitasking. For instance, when the bar is kind of busy, and then the waiting times in your bar are getting longer. And on the other hand, your beer tap in the bar also has a maximum capacity where that you should take into account. And of course, you also have the human intervention part in business processes, such as your barrel gets empty and needs to be changed. So that has an effect on your maximum capacity on the beer tap. But also, if you order a special beer, for instance, you need to get that from the special beer basement. So that takes also a bit more time than tapping a beer from the tap. So that's all about throttling and masking unavailabilities. And also, a good bar has a trustworthy bar services, which means that every order that is being ordered is being taken care of. And also, if you order something, you don't want someone to skip the line. So on the other hand, the drinks that you have ordered should also reach the correct person. So if I order a beer, I don't want to receive a wine that someone else has ordered. So that's all about reliable communication. So what are our Azure Service Bar requirements? First of all, you need to have your bar, you need some hardware, some infrastructure in the pub. So for instance, you have chairs and the bar itself, you have a registry, and those are the things that are actually are used to accommodate all of the bar's functionality. The hardware itself is also is always located in the namespace of a service bus. On the other hand, you need some pub rules. First thing about the orders is orders are made at the bar. We have agreed that this will happen. Second thing is that waiters handle only one order at a time. And the third thing is nobody should be skipped, of course, because when you get skipped, you get mad and it's a bad bar and you never go back. On the other hand, you have the drinks when they are ready. Those should be served on the bar. So you need to be at the bar in order to consume them. Then, on the other hand, people receive their drinks with their name on. You don't want other people to receive the orders that you have ordered. And last but not least, if you don't sit at the bar, you don't get served. If you take these items and you translate those to the messaging components of the service bus, then you can see the orders and drinks as messages. Then you can see the ordering process, which is actually a FIFO process, as a queue. You can see the bar where the drinks are served on as a topic, and you can see the chair at the bar where your consumer is sitting as a subscription, and the drinks with their name on is actually a rule that is applied on that subscription. If you go a bit more technical, then you can see that you have queues and topics and subscriptions. And how do you need to see that? Queues are more built and designed for having more reliable messaging. So that means that every message that is being sent to the queue has only one consumer. So as said, the message is sent to the queue and will be received from the queue. So it has. On the other hand, you have the topics and subscriptions, and there's a big difference between this and the queue, is that you don't actually guarantee the delivery. You just send a message. It's some kind of event, but if nobody's listening, then nobody is receiving the message. This also means that one message can be duplicated over multiple consumers. How does this work? You send your message to a topic, and Service Bus will, the subscriptions on the Service Bus that are registered on the topic will actually take the message from the topic as soon as all of the filter applies. This just follows a bit more the publish and subscribe semantics. All right, so what are those subscription rules? They actually define whether a subscriber is interested in a message or not. So each matching filter produces a copy of the message, which means that if you have on a specific subscription 3 rules and 2 of those rules have a match, then the message is actually duplicated on the same subscription. So you have 2 messages. The way that you can define these items is actually through filter conditions. So one of those filters that you can use are Boolean filters. These are the easiest ones. And you have a true or a false filter. And if you don't specify anything on that subscription, then by default there will always be a true filter. So every message that will be sent to the topic will be received by the subscription. A bit more advanced and used quite a lot is actually the SQL filter. SQL filters are some kind of SQL-like expression that you can define on your subscription, and the rule themselves will be evaluated against the user-defined and system properties of the message that is being received. And last but not least, you have the correlation filters. And this is actually a set of conditions matched against an arriving message against user and system properties. Very important in this thing, the filters are only applied on the message properties. As we can see some later on the demo, you have to see the message that is being sent over the wire as a wrapper, as an envelope where you put your letter in. So the letter itself is the message body, and that is, of course, not available for evaluation. So what we can do to make sure that all of our communication is retrieved, we have some techniques to make sure that that we get the right messages. The first thing is getting next order or drink. So when the waiter sees that in its queue there are some orders to be processed, what it actually can do is have two ways in order to make sure that the message is being processed. And the first one, the safest one, is the peek and lock. So what you actually do is check the message that is on the queue and take a lock. And until that the message is processed, you keep that lock until then when the process is finished successfully, you complete the message, or when the process fails, you can abandon the message, so the message goes back to the queue and can be picked up by, for instance, a next iteration or another consumer. On the other hand, you have the easiest one is actually the autocomplete. So you take the message from the queue and the message is also immediately removed from the queue or subscription. You can also apply retries, which means that you will retry X amount of times before the next step, which is the dead letter queue. And you can apply a linear retry, which means that you will have a constant amount of time before you retry getting the message. You can also have a exponential retry, which means that you can you always wait longer until the message gets processed. And last but not least, you have what should you do with malicious orders and spoiled drinks? So processed at all. So in this case, you don't want these messages to block all of the subsequent messages that are coming after your after this malicious message. So what you can do is actually put that message on a dead letter queue, set it aside, and process it later on, or fix it, or whatever, in order to let the process keep the processes going on. For instance, you can have an order that has a drink that you don't know, that's not on the menu. So in this case, you could say, okay, I don't have this thing in my business logic. I'm just going to dead letter this. How many times I will I try to retry this, it will never work because it's not on the menu. So you can manually put that in the dead letter queue. But you can also have like an automatic amount of attempts. So let's say 10 times, you retry 10 times the message, and if it still is not able to be processed, then of course you can, it will automatically be moved to the dead letter queue. All right, that was the talking part. But I think you're all here to see how you can create your own bar. So let's do that. In order to make it all happen, what I did do is prepare a little resource group with some resources in it. So I set up the service bus in front just to make sure that everything happens. You never know with Azure and deploying stuff like that. Sometimes it takes just a few seconds. Sometimes it takes hours. So you have no idea. In this case, so you go to the integration part, you create a service bus instance. In this case, it's very small. I'm sorry for that, but you really need to take into account that you need the standard pricing tier, because this pricing tier, excuse me, this is the lowest pricing tier that provides the functionality of topics and subscriptions. And then, of course, you start deploying your thing. So what I'm going to do now is show you first the demo that I've prepared, and then we will go through what components that you need in order to make it all happen. I don't see my screen. I'm having some issues with oh yeah, there it is. Okay. So we have our raters. Just a second. And we have our consumers. So what happens is Barney is already in the bar. So he orders a drink. As you can see, the order is being sent to the waiters. If you go to the other side, then you have nobody working over here. So yeah, that means that the drinks that are ordered are still staying on the queue. So let's say that Mo starts working in the pub. And Mo is getting, and he saw that he has an order that he needs to be processed. So what he just did, I don't know if you have seen it, but he actually created a spoiled beer. The beer that he made was actually not good enough. But after that order, he's going to do some other things. So you have, for instance, trying to get new orders. There are no orders. Let's drink something, go to the bathroom, and so on. And you can also have René start to go in. Let's go back to the customers. Let's say that Homer also enters the bar. He's in a very good mood. He runs for another round for the complete bar. And as you can see, you can do a at fundum. This one will be, of course, the spoiled beer. And then on the second one, yeah. So, he gets his drink. All right. So what do you actually need to make this all work? And then I'll go to my Visual Studio. There's my mouse. There's my mouse. All right. Okay. I'm going to make it a bit smaller so that everyone can see it. Okay, I hope this is fine. All right, so the first thing that you need in order to make the bar work is the queues and the topics. So these items, they generate themselves in the code. But in order to make it all work, you need a and I don't have a mouse, so I have to fix it all with a mouse pad. Which is not easy. Just a second. Here it is. All right, here it is. So let's start with the infrastructure. So the application itself is it's very small. The Azure portal is quite a bit difficult to be shown. Let me. But this we will hide. So what I've been creating in this case is a web app for the most customers. Then I have a most tavern Azure Key Vault just to store my secrets that I'm using for the service bus. Then I have, of course, the service bus itself, and I have most waiters as well. This is another web application. Both of these applications are written in Blazor, so they're quite small. The only thing that you need to know is that I used server-side Blazor. You can't run this thing in client-side Blazor because the compatibility with the libraries is not working. That is a first thing, and the second thing is it's not a very good idea to have your security your secret stuff in the located in a small application, client application. So let's go a bit back to the bus itself. So the bus itself contains two things, being the queue where all of the orders are being sent to, so that's the order queue. And I also have topics with all of the subscriptions. Let's start with the queue, because the first thing that the people in the bar will do is start queuing their orders. So in order to make sure that you can access this queue, you should have a shared access policy. And what I did in this case is I created a access policy for both the customers and the waiters, and they both have their own kinds of permissions. So the customers, they can send, but they cannot listen because they're not interested in messages that are listed on the bar. And on the other hand, you have the waiters, and they listen and process, but they don't send anything back. So if we go and check that out, you will see that a connection string is being generated. And this is the connection string that you can use for the waiters. And of course, you have this for the customers as well. So this connection string that we have, that we received from Azure, is being placed in the service bus proxy for the consumers. And we use, just to unqueue items on the ordering queue, we use a service bus connection string builder. So this is just a connection string as you would use string. And to make sure that you can order items, we have this make order function. What it actually does is it takes the order it creates a client, it serializes the object that you receive into JSON, and that's actually the letter that you want to put into your into the envelope. So this is the envelope, and that's what you send to the service bus. It's not more than that, to just send to enqueue a message on the queue. On the other hand, you have the waiters, and they have to dequeue these orders. So you have also a order queue connection builder in this on this side of the application. And what we do here is actually retrieving the next order. This is a bit more complex because the client itself, the queue client, and also the subscription client, they are built to have a continuous a continuous way of processing items. So normally what you should do is you sign on the events that the queue can send to you, and you will just process from the moment that the service bus has sent you a message. So what you're actually doing in this case is we're registering something, and we will be doing the opposite way. So check if there is a message. If there is a message, we deserialize it. Then we will check. We will check if the order that is being serialized, because it could be a faulty order. If that message can be serialized, and if it's not serialized, then we just send it back manually to the dead letter, because we know that in the next retry we will not be able to process this item. But on the other hand, if we receive the order and we are ready to process it, okay, we just are going to complete it, and then we can actually move on. This is a specific call that I've added. This will make sure that you only receive one message from the queue. So it will start retrieving it. It will wait for an amount of time, which is defined here. And from the moment that you receive your message, you just unregister the handler, and you go back to the client application. So that's what you see right here. If I send an order, let's say for Homer, and we go back to here, you can see that there's a little bit of delay between getting the next order, which is 2 seconds, more or less. And that's the delay that Mo is waiting for an order before he continues with his other activities. And then basically it's just returning the order to the front. All right, so all of the orders are being processed on the front side. So there's some logic to send some messages to the UI, but this more or less mimics the process of ordering. So there could happen a lot to the process, but okay. So on this part, we have discussed Mo and René. Also, a thing here, Mo and René share the same queue, which means that they are two processes listening to one queue, which means that you are actually upscaling or downscaling your processes. So in this case, René goes home. She's tired, needs to sleep. Mo stays in the bar. So in this example, there's only one process that actually consumes messages from the queue. All right. Maybe just to note, these processes, they are just .NET processes, single timer that's actually run. On the other hand, you have the consumers, and the consumers, they are triggered on events by clicking a button here. So they don't do anything until I tell them to do so. All right. So from the moment that the drink has been retrieved from the queue, it goes back to the waiter. The waiter does his magic, comes back, and of course you have to serve that drink. And serving the drink is more or less the same as you would serve as you would serve the drink on or send a message to the ordering queue. So again, you have a topic client in this case. You have a serialization of the message. So we have a drink that is being served, and very special in this case, it's ordered for someone. And here we will add the ordered for variable to a user property. So what I am actually doing is putting an address or something of interest for all of the subscriptions. So in this case, we will send serve the drink to the people that are, where the people are ordered for. And that's what you see here. So if Barney wants to get a drink and there are no drinks, then he will start complaining because he thinks that everyone's beer has been stolen. But of course, Homer has ordered one. Okay, this one is spoiled. Let's order another one because he's very thirsty. And okay, he has another drink, so that's all fine. So that's on the side of the waiters. So they are actually not that difficult. They just take orders from a queue and they will and then they will serve the drinks on the topic, which is the bar. Now, of course, as you have seen, and let me go back to the Azure portal, I have an amount of customers that are leaving and entering the bar. So that means that people are getting interested in messages or beers from the topic, but you also have people that leave the bar and are no longer interested in such a thing. So we have, when you go back to our subscriptions, our topics, we'll see that that we have the bar topic, that we will have two interested people in our beers being Homer and Barney. Let's say that Lenny also enters the bar. At this moment, what I did is I created another subscription on the topic. So Lenny is the one that enters the bar and he's also interested in beer. So let me order a beer, or for instance, let him start with a special beer. Okay, yes, 2 drinks now. First drink, second drink, it all works fine. Great. Why not have a round on him? So as you can see, I designated a name to the subscriber. You can see on the Azure portal as well. Let me refresh. All right. So we have now three people that are interested in beers and other drinks from our bar. And to make sure that is possible to have such things, we actually need to register these new subscriptions onto the topic. And you can see that in the take a seat and leave bar. Here we go. For me, it was a bit long time because I've been working with Windows Service Bus as well. The semantics are more or less the same, but the libraries that you use are quite different. So if you want to do this, this is not very well documented, so I had to look a bit for it. If you want to do such a thing, you can use the Management Service Bus, Microsoft Azure Management Service Bus library package. And that allows you to completely manage your service bus. And there's a big difference in the way that you connect to this thing. As you can see, I have a order queue builder connection builder, and I have a bar topic connection builder. These are plain clients that you can use for sending out and receiving messages. But you also have a namespace connection builder, and that one allows you to manage all of the things in the bus that you want to manage. So you can actually control the service bus almost completely from .NET, which is very nice. So let me go back to the most tavern service bus, because if you want to connect to that namespace with that namespace connection builder, you need to move or use access policies on the top level of the namespace, and not so on the on the specific items that you want access to. So in this case, this one is a bit wrong. But, oh no, this one is the one that we are actually using. So this is the policy that we will use to manage our service bus. And from the moment that you have such a client, it's quite easy to do it from the moment that you know. So just a few lines. But the first thing that you need to do is check if the bus is if the subscription is already present. Because if you don't do that, the client of course will crash. So that's something that you have to make sure that the customer itself is not present. As you might have seen, if I go back to the customers, this is a Blazor app. So if I refresh the page, my completely state is removed. Hey, Carl has joined the bar. How did he do that? Let's turn him off back off. So yeah, it checks out the instances that are the subscriptions that are actually registered on the topic itself, and that's also done by the namespace builder. So let's start with taking a seat. So check if the subscription exists. If so, okay, don't do anything, move on. But on the other hand, if we do need to create a subscription, what we will do is create a description, subscription description, and that description will be enriched with an extra rule, being, and this is where the SQL filters come into place. So it will check for ordered for their own name or ordered for everyone. So if you click the round on me, what it does is just send an order with everyone, beer for everyone. The subscription should be created then. So we call the create subscription async. And okay, from that moment on, we're starting to listen to messages that are retrieved or that are sent to the topic. On the other hand, it's more or less the same logic for leaving the bar. You create the management client, you check if it exists, and if it exists, you just delete the subscription. All of the messages that are located on the subscription will also be removed. Everything is lost. To make sure that that I can check which customers are already present in the bar, I can just say management client and ask if it's the subscription exists on the topic. So as you can see, it's just a few parameters that you have to pass through, and that will work. Also, a little thing. This is case insensitive, so you don't have to mind. You see that here the bar topic is with a large T, but it will take it anyway. All right, so there we go. So this is our bar. It all works. Maybe a good thing to explain, but the screen size is a bit too small today to show you the full capacity, the full possibilities of that, is that you right now have a preview version of Service Bus Explorer. For some of you that might know the Windows Azure Windows Service Bus times, and even right now the Service Bus Explorer functionality is actually a FAT client installed on your that you can install on your PC. But some of the functionalities of that Service Bus Explorer is also integrated now in the Azure portal. Still in preview, but a more or less handy tool, I believe, if you want to investigate the things that are happening on your bus. All right. So, are there any more things that I need to show? No, I think that I'm done here. So let's go on to the questions. Is it a good practice to complete a message before processing it? Isn't safer to complete it after processing in case something goes wrong? Yes, it depends on your use case, actually. So if you are interested in a message and you want to process it, and you definitely want to process it, then of course you do a peak lock. On the other hand, if you are processing messages just because you want to show something, like I did in this application, just to have some user input or something like that, or a course change, for instance, this is also a thing that refreshes every second. So it all depends on the use case that you are having. Okay, I have other questions. Also, a good thing to show you on the Mo's Tavern itself is that you on the service bus, you actually also have those where it is. You have also these nice charts, so you can monitor the activity on your bus quite well. So which is kind of interesting. To see how the bus works. Okay. Are there any more questions? No more questions? I can move on to the last slide. So to wrap it all up, okay, weird stuff. So to wrap it all up, you can find the code on my GitHub. I see that the link is not, but it's github.com/jerryvaneckepoel/how-to-run-a-bar with service bus. The presentation itself is also present on in the repository, so you can you can take a peek over there. Of docs where all of the queues and subscription things are explained, and then of course the NuGet galleries that you can use. In this case, Service Bus 5.1.1 is the latest version of the package that you can use to communicate with And then, of course, you have the management service bus 2.0.1. All right. I hope you have enjoyed this little demo on Azure Service Bus. And yeah, that's the only thing that I can say. That's all, folks.
All right. Thank you very much, Jerry, for this really interesting talk. We only had like 1 or 2 questions which you handled, and most of the comments were just like another cool tool for handling. Service Bus is Cerulean. I don't know the product, perhaps you know it. And furthermore, it's more like a great job. Thank you for sharing interesting stuff. Very interesting topic. Thank you, Jerry. So I think you did an amazing job today. Thank you very much. I always like him seeing Mo's bar. It's been a while since I watched The Simpsons myself, so thank you very much for bringing that one up again. And I really do hope that the next time we see each other, it's going to be for real, and we're going to have a pint or 2, or perhaps even 3.
Or
Deal?
more. Yes.
Or more. Okay. Now we're talking. Okay, everyone, I'm at home. Thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you, of course, Jerry, for taking the time to present to us. For the people at home, thank you very much for joining us and taking your time to follow this session. And we hope to see you again at the next ASUG session. Thank you very much, and see you next time. Bye.